What is going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing my first impressions of the Moto G Power for 2024. Is this worth purchasing over the 2025? Let's find out. So the short answer to that question is yes. I personally think this device is worth purchasing over the 2025 for a couple of different reasons. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about my experience with the device over the past 24 hours. So yes, I had this phone for 24 hours and I got it at my local Walmart for 80 bucks. I didn't see a need to purchase it for $200 when I just wanted to get it for review purposes and compare it to the Moto G Power 2025 that I recently just purchased. But even if I was to pay that 180 or 200 bucks, I still would think it's a better option than getting the one that just recently came out. So let's discuss the specs really quickly. You're gonna have 8 gigs of RAM inside of this device, along with 128 gigs of internal storage. As far as the processing, it's gonna have the MediaTek Dimensity 7020, which is a little bit better than the one that's in the new Power. You're gonna have a 50 megapixel camera on the rear, as well as an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and the max video recording resolution for the rear is 1080p at 60 frames per second. And the front camera is going to be a 16 megapixel. Now out of the box, the device is going to come with Android 14. Now for the display, it's going to be a 6.7 inch full HD display at 120 Hertz. And it does have HDR capabilities as well, because I was literally watching a video and it gave you the option to put the quality to max, resolution as well as HDR. And it has that feature, but a device that's brand new doesn't, like the G Power for 2025. So keep that in mind. Now, powering up this device or keeping it on is going to be a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You're going to have a 30-watt fast charging capabilities. No charger in the box for the unlock model, but for the prepaid version, you actually got a charging brick. I bought this phone for 80 bucks. Same exact phone right here. Oh, activated the flashlight. And you got a 10-watt brick in the box. Spending less and you get more. That's the world we live in today. So as I was saying, you got the capabilities of charging it at 30 watts fast charging speeds, and you also have 15-watt wireless charging. Now, on the left side of the device, you're also going to have a micro SD card slot for expandable storage. It is eSIM, and you can use regular SIM as well. And then you have a Type-C for charging, dual speakers with this device, as well as a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. You got a couple security updates, and you also got and you also got the Android 15 update, which I was pleasantly surprised on. Now, it's interesting to me because this is the Moto G Power, and it has the Android 15 update, but the Moto G Stylus here, which is the more premium version of this phone, doesn't have Android 15 yet. So I'm wondering if carrier models are more prioritized than lock models, but that wouldn't make any sense, right? I don't know. Yeah, you got Android 15 on this device, and it actually functions a little bit better than the G Power. I think the MediaTek 7020 that's in this phone performs better than the 6300 and the Moto G Power. And it's very evident. Just scrolling around on the phone, going to your settings, animations is a lot more smooth. Don't get me wrong, it's not the most powerful thing, but there are things you will notice. Now, when it comes to watching content on this device, streaming YouTube, I had a pleasant experience. I think the screen has a little bit better quality than the one on the G Power for 2025. And like I said in the beginning of the video, it's because it has the HDR feature. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying go ahead and skip the G Power simply because this one has HDR, but you are getting more for your money when you factor that in, because if you're watching the video, don't you want to watch it in the max quality? Now, some people don't care about that, but if you're spending the money, even if you don't use it, don't you want more? Now, with you watching those videos and everything and having a good quality on the display and all that, what does the audio sound like? Now, this device does feature 2 speakers, it's dual speakers, and the quality that it produces is actually pretty good. You hear a good amount of bass. Really no complaints in that department. You cut it up to max volume, you're not gonna hear too much distortion. And keep in mind, 80 bucks. 80 bucks. I can't get over that. Of course, you get your typical Motorola gestures. You get your chop, like I accidentally turned it on earlier in the video. And you also have your twist action to activate the camera. Thing functions pretty good. So let's talk about the actual performance of the G Power for 2024 in terms of Geekbench, Antutu benchmark, things of that nature. Because when you compare it directly to the Moto G Power of 2025, which I have right here, okay, I've been using it and I've been testing them next to each other. You actually have a higher score on Geekbench for the single core and the multi-core. So with the MediaTek 7020 in this device here, your single core score was 898 and your multi-core score was 2251. Now with the G Power here of 2025, and let me just show you guys, I'm not trying to hate, you know, I'm just calling it like I see it, man. I hate to say that I'm slandering Motorola because I love this brand, but numbers don't lie. Single core score is 767 on this one, and multi-core is 1900. So you have a device that's brand new for the 25 year, and it doesn't function better than the previous year model. To me, that's unacceptable. I'm not really a fan of that. Now, depending on who you are as a person, you might want that new stuff. You might want the new feeling of opening up a new phone and getting it out the box and everything of that nature. But always spend your money on the most value. You want to get the best bang for the buck. So sometimes when new devices come out from OEMs, they don't necessarily get better. And we see this with some of the biggest players in the game, like Apple, Samsung. They will release clones of phones that they put out previous years and call it the next best thing, and people just go out there and eat it up. I'm not one of those people. And I don't want you to be either. So this is why I say you should definitely consider the Moto G Power of 2024 over the Moto G Power of 2025, especially when you consider the price that it's at. Now, if the G5 or the G Power for 25 comes down to $199, $179, something like that, okay. Then I'll say, okay, consider it. But because a device like this here has IP68 and 69, it's not worth $100 more. It's just not, in my opinion. It's a good phone, but it's not worth the extra $100. This is the best bang for the buck right here. Now, as far as the camera performance, you're gonna get what you expect here. If you got a good amount of light, the photos are gonna come out good. The video comes out good as well. You actually have a higher resolution you can record in this one, or in this 24 G Power here, than you can in the G Power 25. This is really interesting how that phone is the new version of this and it's not better. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I just honestly think that you'll get a better bang for the buck with this one here, because everything is pretty much similar, And I actually think the image processing with this device is actually faster too. And it may has more to do with the CPU, but it's just an overall better phone. So I think I should just go ahead and cut it off here, because it's definitely become a bad session for the G Power of 2025. But in the comment section below, let me know, do you guys want to see anything in particular with the G Power of 2024? You want to see me do some of my older videos like speed tests? Because I can go ahead and knock one of those out for you guys as well. But be sure to like the video, share it with family and friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.